Hello. Welcome to our very first, what is this called? Virtual write-in of Camp, April 2020. My name is Mariah, and I'm oh my God, I keep saying this. I was doing an Instagram live, and I was like, I've talked so rarely to real people. Like, not besides this is Mark, this is my husband and my housemates, but like talking to the camera, I'm like, what's my name? What do I do? What's happening? What day is it? But my name is Mariah, and I'm one of the program directors at NaNoWriMo, and this is
Mark. Hi.
What do you do at NaNoWriMo?
I do not work at NaNoWriMo, but Mariah has limited options for people to be guests, so I'm one of the 4 options available to her.
It was either Mark or the dog, and the dog doesn't want to participate.
I don't know. Come here, Beth. Here.
This is our dog. Come up. Oh, he's busy. We're outside. He'll make a cameo. So this is Buster. He does not work for NaNoWriMo either. His main job is chasing bugs and providing cuteness. So he might make another. Hi, Buster, you're on camera. You're on camera. Say something. Okay.
Buster wants to leave, and we try to give him a high level of autonomy. So.
Bye, Buster.
There he goes.
Okay. So welcome. If this is your first virtual write-in, so it is actually your first virtual write-in. So I can tell you a little bit about what we do at virtual write-ins. A virtual write-in, we take an hour together. We hang out in a huge group of writers. So that's me and Mark and our dog and everyone watching online. And I'm sorry, I'm just scrolling down. And we take the time to chat about writing, but then we also make space to do some word sprints and some prompts and kind of make space for creativity. So if this is the one time in your day that you sit down and write something, that's great. If you wrote already or are going to write later, that's great too. But we're definitely going to write together right now. So that's what a virtual write-in is.
Yes, and I'm passing everyone's greetings along to Buster. So everyone is saying hi in the comments. He hears you.
Oh yeah, and I see people dropping into the chat introducing themselves. So if you haven't done that yet, like definitely drop. You can wave in the chat and say hello, say where you're writing from. I see Alicia from Ohio.
Hi, Lieber. Welcome.
Callahan is from Las Vegas. Hi from Philippines. Hi from Costa Rica. It's a doggo. Yeah, he's a doggo. I wish he wasn't so aloof, He's just sitting over there staring at the sun. We'll turn the camera later, but I'm afraid if we turn the camera now, we'll never get it back to this. So. And I see someone from Beham, Alabama, Chicago, York, Pennsylvania in the house. Amazing. Oh, so we're coming from our backyard in Oakland, California. That's where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I have to keep bending back and forth because all my notes are on this computer. So if you're looking at my nose, it's because I'm like, what am I supposed to say next?
I saw hi from the Netherlands too. Hi, welcome.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for being here all around the world. This is a cool first write-in for you, Mark.
Yeah.
Normally we're in the office, but that's the only difference.
It's really nice out here right now.
Yeah, it's nice. Okay, so happy April 1st. Camp NaNoWriMo started today. I saw a lot of you talking about camp in the chat. I'll give you a quick, if you're like, what is she talking about? What's camp? Camp NaNoWriMo is similar to NaNoWriMo, which happens in November. Camp happens in April and July. It's a month-long event. It's on the NaNoWriMo site. You can start a project. You can set your own goal, so it doesn't have to be 50,000 words. It can be any amount of words, and it can be any kind of project. So if you don't like writing novels, for instance, if you're Mark and you've never written a novel, but maybe you want to write an essay or a collection of essays, you can set a goal around that. You can also participate on the Young Writers Program site, ywp.nanowrimo.org, if you are 18 or under. And I see some people dropping in what they're doing for camp. Rose is doing a Steven Universe fanfic. Hi, Amanda, says Michelle, all in capital letters. Hi, Amanda. Alicia's on YWP. That's great. Zara's doing a murder mystery. That sounds really fun right now, actually. I feel like murder mysteries are fun to write. A dark fantasy. Samantha leaning into having a different word count, 10,000 words instead of 50. Sarah, who is the community director of community engagement, was saying that she might set a goal of 30 words, which is 1 word a day. And each word is just going to be a word to represent her day that day. Because everyone's having weird days, and maybe it seems hard to make space for thousands of words, but if you just put the time to spend 5 minutes and write a word about your day.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Because anyone can do that, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard to fail at that goal.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably fail if I wanted to.
No, me too.
But 30,000 words. Woo, love it. People are doing such cool things. Fantasy series, a light romance, a murder mystery, chick lit, Hunger Games fanfic. I think that's the second Hunger Games fanfic I saw pop up. And actually, I also have a Hunger Games fanfic type thing that I'd like to work on. So that's 3. Okay. Oh, and good point. Katie Price says she's using Camp to edit and rewrite her November novel. That's also great. So you don't have to write something new. You could also be rewriting or editing or set a goal around that. So maybe I should do that actually.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. I'm scrolling back to my notes. Oh, okay. So I think check. So I'm gonna start the first word sprint. Maybe. Does that sound okay to you, Mark?
That sounds great. I do not know what that is, but I am on board. Sounds like you write fast.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I mean, just like sprinting, people have different paces. So when I sprint, I'm like still kind of ambling. When you sprint, you might go really fast. So word sprint is similar in that I'm going to give you a prompt. You can use it if you want to use it. Buster's peeing and I'm making eye contact with him. It's awkward.
That's not the prompt.
No, I have to look away from him. So I'll give you a prompt. If it makes you feel inspired, then use it. If it doesn't make you feel inspired, ignore it. And then we'll give you a time limit. Like the first one is 5 minutes. It's just a warm up. And in those 5 minutes, you try to write as much as you can without worrying about how it sounds. So this is not the time to be like, how do you spell, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the time to just be like, I don't know, try it the best you can and just go. So.
Just vomit something out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a really gross dream last night. Should I tell you? Can I tell you?
Save it for after.
Oh, no, I want to tell you.
bridge,
I want to
you're
tell you
gonna
right
know
now.
about this.
Okay,
No, tell it after.
okay, I'll tell it after. But I'll forget it, so I'm going to make a note to myself to tell you what the dream was. Okay. Blank document ready to go. Okay, so the theme of this write-in, I'm going to give you 3 prompts, and it's all going to be about kind of April Fool's Day or writing foolishly, because I thought that's kind of a fun holiday. And so for this first one, to get warmed up, we're going to do 5 minutes, and in those 5 minutes, try to write a scene or a story. So this could be your camp project. It could just be something else. It could be a warm-up that starts with the words of somebody saying to someone else, "You fool!" So I'll drop it in the chat. I don't have it in the description yet, but start a scene or a story with a character saying, "You fool!" And again, if you're like, that doesn't work for me at all, then, oh yeah, fly, you fools. I know it did remind me of, what? Sorry, this is not going to come from NaNoWriMo. It's going to come from Mariah Brennan, which is me. But I guess I'm logged in 2 different places on YouTube. I don't know how that's possible, but it is. So start a scene or a story with a character saying, "You fool," and we're going to do 5 minutes. If you hate this prompt, don't use it. Just spend 5 minutes writing something else as fast as you can. Ready, set, go. Halfway through. All right. Go ahead and finish your last sentence. Erica found a working pen. My pen has a bunch of duct tape on it because I wanted to have the duct tape on a trip or something, but it's really hard to write with. Might get a new one. Okay. Tell us how that went for you. So drop into the chat how many words you wrote maybe. I wrote on handwriting, so I don't know if I'm going to count, but I wrote a whole page. That's more than I wrote earlier, which is really cool. And if you have a favorite sentence or line or a couple sentences, feel free to drop it in. This is how mine started. You fool, said the guy in the red hat.
That's how mine started too.
Oh my God. And then I was like, yeah, why else would I be wearing this clown hat? But we didn't always get the smartest people coming into the medieval brunch and tournament. And management told me I had to quit being so snarky and start being more foolish, whatever that meant. So I decided to spell it out for him. Remember, that's how I started. You don't want to share? Sharing's optional.
I'm not quite ready to.
Yeah.
This is my first virtual writing.
Yeah, don't share. I don't share anything that I usually write, but I'll share some stuff in virtual write-in sometimes. I just thought that was funny. Let's see it. Unicorn Fan 85 got 3 handwritten paragraphs. Good job. Yeah, if you want to. Kay says, I only wrote 84. It's been a while since I worked on this story. I mean, 84 is more than you had yesterday, right? Good job. Janet said, you fool! I can't believe you even thought you needed to tell me that. Sweetie Cat says, you fool, the monster screams. Why am I a fool? I see fear in your heart, fear to love, fear to feel. That's what makes you a fool.
Every time you say you fool, I think, oh my God, that's how mine started too.
Harper says, 100 words. I somehow managed to misspell easier and coarse, lol. That's what word sprints are for, misspelling words, being wild. Let me see. What did I say? You fools, the king said, staring at the girls. You could have gotten each other killed. Love that. Isn't it fun how you get to hear, like, you get all these little images of stories? Like, it's, I always want to read more.
Yeah.
Words Fall said, I didn't use it. That's okay, Words Fall. I usually don't use a prompt, actually. Usually I go rebel.
Who's struggling a bit? Someone was struggling a bit.
Oh, no.
They're struggling.
I didn't see it. Aaron says, I'm still finding my way through the story idea and I don't quite know what's going on yet. That's like, I've written like, I have a novel I've worked on that has like 200,000 words and I don't know what's going on yet still, so. HM says, I'm struggling a little bit. My characters changed their personalities and now they resemble my life too much. Maybe I should stop writing and try to plot first. I don't know what's up. That happens to me a lot too, where I start to write things and then it seems like all of the characters are sounding a lot like me. I'm like, oh, this one also sounds like me. So does this one. So does this one. What usually helps me do that, like figure that out. Maybe you could do more work building out each of those characters. Like if you've ever done an activity with each of those characters, like a really in-depth character questionnaire for each of those different characters. We have some on the NaNoWriMo site. So that's like going through like, where was this character born? Where will they die? Like, what was their favorite childhood toy? Like all these questions for each of those characters to really build them out into separate people. And then at the end of that, it'll be harder for them to all kind of become like you, and it'll keep them more separate. Maybe other people have good advice. TJ says, find a few things about your character's speech that are unique. That's good advice too. Someone said, where's that at, the questionnaire? If you go to the NaNoWriMo website, where is it? If you go to the Nano Prep page on the NaNoWriMo website, I'll make a note. I'll drop it into the comments or the below the video. Not the chat. There's actually, let me teach you about YouTube, Mark. So after this video ends, there'll be a description of the video that you can keep coming back to. So I'll add in the link to the character questionnaire there because it's pretty good. And speaking of links and things, I wanted to also make sure that I called out, if you like word sprints, we have a Nano Word Sprints Twitter account that has different volunteers running it throughout the month of April during camp. So if you're ever like, man, I could really use a word sprint right now, just go onto Twitter and then follow Nano Word Sprints. I'll add a link to that too. And then you can have all these. Thank you, Rosa and Rachel. Yeah.
What was your dream?
Oh, my dream was so gross. So you said vomit the words onto the paper, and then I just had a memory that in my dream, I used to be a teacher and one of my students was crying to me, but he had this disease so that instead of water coming out of his eyes, it was like vomit coming out of his eyes. So his whole face was covered in like chunky peanut butter looking thing. And as he was crying, he would just get covered and then he would slough it down. You're gonna throw up? So gross. Don't throw up. I told you it was gross. It was a weird dream. He was just like,
whoa, that's a powerful image.
I know. It was really gross. I know, there's a lot of U's. I told you it was gross.
Maybe we should go to the next thing.
No. Hold on, I want to see if there's any more questions. Pancake Planet says, I feel like my story is going way too fast. Any tips? Yeah, that happened to me in my first NaNoWriMo, where I would spend my day writing and then the characters would have moved like really fast through the scene. I think one thing you can do to help with that is to plot out ahead of time what's happening and have a list of scenes at least. That usually helps me. The other thing you can do is not worry about it now, and then when you finish the first draft, go back and pick the parts that you think need to be
fleshed out.
Yeah.
Stretched out.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, someone did the barf emoji. Cool. Let's see.
Is there a barfing from the eyes emoji? No, it's like crying face, barfing face together.
Yeah. Sarah says, I have the opposite problem. I feel like my story is moving too slow. I would say that's just a function of like how fast it takes to write something versus how fast it takes to read something. Like my first NaNoWriMo, I remember I would spend like days writing a scene or writing stuff, and then I would be like, Mark, read it. And you'd read it and it would take you like 2 minutes.
That's pretty good.
And I'd be like, oh my God, that took me hours of work. And I realized that like it just moves a lot slower when you're writing.
But the reverse side of that is it only takes one person to write it, and then hundreds or thousands of people can read it.
Yeah.
Right? So there's like a trade-off there.
The reverse side.
I just mean like it's not like you invest all this work.
Oh yeah.
And then
yeah.
it only gets like one little outcome.
Yeah.
It's gotta.
Yeah. I mean, so far only one person has read that novel, and it was you. So.
So never mind.
Oh shoot. Yeah, let's do another word sprint. Natalie the nerd. Another word sprint. Okay. Sorry, I just want to scroll and make sure. I can't seem to develop characters at the beginning. Any help? That's just what it's like to write the beginning of anything. So like you will not, I think the honest truth is that you will not have your characters developed until you finish the novel and write the end. And then you're like, oh, now I know how to write these characters. So don't stress about it too much. Like throw in a character. And if you worry about how they're flat or you're like, this is literally the most boring character anyone's ever written, like that is so normal. Just keep going. And if you want to spend time doing character questionnaires or character building out, like you can, but know that usually it doesn't, when you get to the end is when you finally get to know the character. Okay. Oh, Queerly Serious says stuck on a chapter that involves feelings and bonding. I know what you mean. It's for me, it's so much easier to write an action scene than it is to write like a really good. One thing that can sometimes help for me is if you picture them in a movie, because sometimes feelings bonding scenes, it's like you have them sitting at a cafe or you have them just like sitting on the couch talking. Then if I think to myself, if this were a movie, would I film that for like the whole 20 minutes or would that get really boring? Like, would they instead be like something happening in the background or like, are they trying to have dinner together? You know, like if you can weave an action that would make it more interesting to watch.
Did they drop some stuff on the floor in the hardware store and then they're squatting down meeting each other for the first time?
We watched this really bad rom-com and the meet cute kept happening like again and again where the girl kept dropping things and then they'd be kneeling and looking at each other.
Yeah.
But like one time, sure. But this time it happened like 5 times in the movie. So
they also had a goat that made like 6 appearances. It was like their entire comic relief was like, and there's a goat.
Okay,
sorry. Moving on. Let's do the prompt.
Okay. So here is this next prompt. I gotta look at my thing. Okay, so again, April Fool's Day is today, and I was hoping that we could kind of keep playing with that as a prompt. So April Fool's Day is all about playing a prank or joke on someone. And so the prompt is to add a prank, joke, secret, or trick to your next scene. Maybe a character is keeping a secret from another character. Maybe they're lying. Maybe they're planning a surprise or an actual prank. Don't be afraid to build up the tension. And here's an alternate prompt if that one doesn't work for you, which is write about a prank you played on someone or that someone played on you. So if you'd rather write kind of a nonfiction prank. And I'm going to drop it in. This is coming from Mariah. Oops, and I am 192 words over the limit. Hold on 1 second. And now I'm still over the limit. Oh, sorry. Oh. YouTube doesn't really let you write a lot. There we go. Okay. Add a prank, joke, secret, or trick to your next scene. And my other thing was an alternate prompt to write about a pranker you played on someone or that someone played on you.
How long are we on? 5 minutes?
We're going to go 10 minutes. Is that right? Let's go 8 minutes, actually.
Okay.
Then the next one will go 10. 8 minutes. Ready, set, go. Oh, and if I might just keep writing the one that I wrote earlier because I'm into it. So that's also fine.
Mm-hmm. The halfway we can find.
That's halfway. No. All right. Go ahead and drop in the chat how that sprint went for you. If you used the prompt, if you didn't use the prompt, maybe you want to share how many words you wrote or pages, or if you'd like to drop a favorite sentence. I wasn't going to use the prompts at all. And then just now, as I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, I did actually have someone play a trick on someone else. So maybe it was just subconscious or something. And I wrote like a page and a half, but I'm not sure. I wrote a last bit that I might kind of change. How'd you do? Melody wrote 278. Ebony wrote 221, got a little distracted. That's still a lot of words. Let's see. HM finished their scene and is now working on developing the characters in their story arc and got to use a prompt. Woohoo! I'm glad. I'm always a little stressed out coming up with prompts. I'm like, this is a good one. Let's see. Wow. So the chat is so active right now. It's like, so I'm trying to catch up. Let's see. Sage K says, the questions of her wandering mind fade the last traces of blue sky as the world darkens fully, stars vaguely dotting the inky black, and she drops into sleep. Pretty. Ooh, right with Talia hit 1,678 words for the day. Congratulations. That advocate got more than 1,000. Let's see. I love all this stuff. It's amazing. Oh, Shiloh says their fave sentence. Magic was thin still, but it had the same property as glitter. Once it's there, it never really goes away.
That's true.
Yeah. About magic?
And about glitter. We used to live in a circus house, a house that a lot of circus performers lived in, and so there was some glitter involved, and it would be amazing. You would find glitter on every surface at all times. You could vacuum the whole house, and next thing you know, there's like a little glitter on your hand.
Amazing. Let's see. Sarah Ellen's already over 2,200 words for the day. Good work. I mean, Monday is a good, or not Monday. I don't even know what day it is. It's Wednesday. But what I meant was the early days of an event like camp are good days to get ahead, because the tendency is you might slow down a little bit as you keep going. So it's good to be ahead of your goal in the beginning for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. The whole time, Rachel and I have accepted them for what they are. But what are they? Dream Corp hasn't told us anything about why we're developing our powers in the real world. Mm-hmm. That's from Lily Pina. Love it. I love all these sentences. They're just coming so fast. It's hard to read. HP experts wrote a page. Oh, wow. Their characters in prison hospital. I love all this stuff. Lex says, the fragile layer of frost over the lake is disappearing as people skate over it, leaving a view of glistening ice. When this one's about wood elves, the plaid dress says, he did try to stay away from those wood elves with sharp eyes. He didn't know how true those rumors were about their connection with animal minds, and he didn't like to think about testing it. Love it.
Whoa, that one's amazing.
Jessica says, this wasn't new. Yogi was always hungry. That's why he looked more like a potato than a dog. I love that. B says they used the prompt and wrote a summary of their scene. It actually worked perfect, and I got a page worth. That's great, too. That's a great use of this time, for sure. And Aya says, writer's block, what should I do? If people have advice for writer's block, feel free to drop it in the chat. Writer's block is kind of like the number one thing that people ask us, like, how do I deal with writer's block? And I think it's because there's no one good answer for it. Because I think writer's block, I don't actually think there is such a thing as writer's block. It's just like a term that people use to cover lots of different problems. So once you figure out what that little problem is, you solve the little problem, and then you can start writing. So for me, when I say I have writer's block, it's like right now I would say yes, I have writer's block, but it's because I don't know how to end my story. And I suspect that it's because the beginning's not right. So I think the solution is actually to go back to the beginning and write a second draft from the beginning now. Do you ever get writer's block?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually for me, it's like analysis paralysis, like thinking about stuff too much and trying to make everything work in my head before I even start to write stuff down, and then having like the full plan worked out, and then I start writing, and then like my whole plan doesn't happen anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think for me, doing stuff like what we're doing right now, just like moving my hand and getting stuff out, is a good way to start.
I think that's really true too. Or yeah, Katie Portell says, when I have writer's block, I think it's because I'm caring too much about what I write or how good it is. Yeah.
True. Like it's too precious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Sedaris has some quote that he's like, if I thought about how everything I was writing, if I thought about how someone would be reading it in the New Yorker, I would never write anything. Like you have to kind of imagine that no one's going to read that. I know.
Focus on the process of it, right?
Yeah. Elizabeth C says, analysis paralysis. I relate so hard. I've never heard it called that. Is that like a landscape architect thing? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
It's not. You just made it up?
Haven't you guys heard of that? Analysis paralysis?
No.
Oh. It's like when you know what it is.
I mean, it rhymes. Yeah. I like how it rhymes. Let's see. Let's see if anybody else has like a pretty good. Oh. So Natalie the Nerd says, I don't usually have writer's block as I write 25 pages worth of an outline before I start a project. That's one way to solve it too, if that works for you. For some people, I think having a plot, they'll say, oh, this outline holds me back. But for me, if I do have more of an outlined thing, then all of the writing block part happens in the very beginning, you know, because I'm like dreaming out where it needs to go. And then when I'm actually writing, it's like smaller problems, not like what happens next, more like how does it happen, I guess. Let's see. Yeah. What's outlining? LOL. Yeah, the word is truth says I outline some things, but I don't go too detailed into it. I do that too, kind of. Like I do a thing where I try to jot down like a couple words for each scene. That sometimes helps. Yeah, so like Pancake Planet says, an outline seems to hold me back. Yeah, I mean, one thing that's cool about camp or about NaNoWriMo in general, I think, is because you can try out different ways of writing. So like the first time I did it, I didn't have an outline, and it turns out I do better when I have some kind of outline. So, yeah. Sarah says, I don't get writer's block. I think it's more like I get out of the mood to write. Yeah, and then in that case, the tricks are to get yourself back in the mood to write. So for me, it's like having like a set time where I can't do anything else but write, even if that means staring at my computer doing nothing, but just like having that set time or and having that same time every day, I think is pretty good.
When I used to train, when I was trying to be a circus performer, I had these shoes that I would put on that I would train in every day. And I would like get changed into my clothes and then put on my shoes. And once I had my shoes on, I was like, okay, now I'm in training mode and I'm going to do it no matter what. And that helped me to have that like little ritual.
I think that's cool. You could put on rider shoes.
Yeah, you need special shoes for writing.
Well, I don't have shoes, but like I do a special thing with my computer. Some people play. I know a writer who listened to the same 5 Dolly Parton songs before she would start writing every day. So it's kind of like something that you do that just puts you into like, now I'm writing.
Right. It tells your brain like it's time.
Yeah.
To go in writing mode.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
That's great.
Our dog is in the bushes now.
He's getting into trouble as usual.
He's a little troublemaker. Okay. So for this next one, we are doing 10 minutes. So that means it'll end at about 52. And this prompt is, I'll paste it into the thing. So this, you can keep working on the prompt from before, any one of those things that you were working on, or if you feel like adding something or trying something new, you can do, I'll paste it into the chat. And it says this: the most blank ever laughed was the time, and then in parentheses I wrote he, she, they, I, etc. Feel free to make it fiction or nonfiction. So like the most I ever laughed was the time blank, and I could be like actual me if I felt like doing like a personal prompt, or it could be that my character in the story having a memory. Like, and when we were talking earlier about building characters, this is an exercise to do that. So like you could do it with each of the characters in your novel and just be like, the hardest this person ever laughed was the time they like, you know, because you can kind of learn about a lot about a character based on what they think is funny, right?
Yeah.
Like the hardest I ever laughed was the time I pooped my pants or whatever. That's not true. But what if it was? What if it was like that was the hardest time I ever laughed? Then you'd be like, wow, I learned a lot
that's
about
funny.
you. And then I could write about what happened, you know?
That's the time my arch nemesis pooped his.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
that's good. Vomit and poop.
I know,
So far in the
it's so
conversation.
gross. So the prompt, if you're asking, is I pasted it into the chat. It says, keep working on the prompt from before, or if you want something new, try this. And in quotations, I said, the most blank ever laughed was the time. And I said most, but also hardest would work. Ooh, I love it. Okay, ready? And we're going to do 10 minutes. So it's going to end at 52. Ready, set, go. Handwriting is not important.
Yes, it is.
What? Not for this.
Okay. How many minutes? Sorry, 10?
10 minutes. Okay. That's halfway. Go ahead and stop. And you can drop in how that sprint went for you. For me, I was all over the place. I started one thing, and then I did another thing, and then I did another thing. And then by the end, I felt like I knew what I was doing. And then my timer rang. So. Whoa, the king starfish wrote 623 words. That's why they're the king.
Also, they have 5 arms to type. So yeah. That's not really fair for the rest of us. We're going to count that as 120 words.
That's very funny. That advocate's up to 1,300 words for today. That's amazing. People are sharing some chats. Oh, interesting. A lot of words. Evelina Marie worked on ideas for their project. Ocean Eyes says 433. This is getting downright spooky.
Here's Yogi again.
Oh yeah, Yogi. Where did they go?
Said Yogi reasoned for a while. A rare occurrence.
I think Yogi's the dog, right?
Yeah, the potato dog.
Yeah, the potato dog. Oh, and Kapali Kinonia said, and my sister who is joining me wrote 268. That's great.
All right.
Elizabeth C, 217. I'm feeling good about myself today. Good job. That's like the real goal of these virtual write-ins, is to just hang out with other writers, feel good about yourself, make a little space for your creativity in a day that maybe you don't have a lot of other space to do that in.
Yeah.
Good job. Wow, a lot of word counts for this one. I'm loving it. I mean, let's see. In total, we wrote 23 minutes. So however much you wrote is how much you wrote in 23 minutes total. And that's a lot of words for such a little time. Serena says, this was fun. I was laughing along. My favorite thing is when I make myself laugh when I'm writing. Like when I tell a joke and I'm like, this is very funny for me, at least. Let's see. Oh, Eleanor Raymer had a quote. But if you laugh so much, why do you cry so much?
Whoa. Those go together.
Lily Pena says, I feel Rachel smiling. She alters my dreamscape and I can see through her eyes. She's working on calculus. Oh God, I joke. How are you not dead?
I love that.
Yeah. Oh, Rosa and Rachel says, is Blobby surviving the quarantine? Blobby is just chilling in the NaNoWriMo office all by himself with Sporgy, the space corgi.
There's a whole world going on in there.
Yeah.
It's like Toy Story when all the humans go away. They're just like drinking all the wine and having a little party.
They're doing all the things they want to do. Poor Blobby. Blobby's probably like...
Zara Wrights knows he's having a party.
He's like in his underpants, just like, no, not wearing, you know how everyone at home, he's like on Zoom calls with no pants on.
Totally. Wait,
No. I will tell Blobby we said hi. So many things. I love it. Whoa. Blobby and Sporgy. Lieber says, I saw other people today. It was weird. I've only seen you all today. And it was only as weird as it normally is. I.S. Harris said, the moon was inching closer to the ground when I rose. Juniper and Papa were both snoring. Good. They will not notice my leaving. Love it. A person wrote, I don't remember laughing since Mom was around, Layla thought to herself. 10 years ago now. 10 years in this cold, dark hell. That's very dramatic. Taylor says, their fave sentence is, the figure on the doorstep stands there with a hand poised to knock, hair plastered to his head by the torrents of the storm raging outside. And then they wrote, kind of extra, but I like it.
I like it too.
Me too.
Mine also had somebody knocking on the back door, but it turned out to be 2 raccoons. And that's why the guy was laughing so hard.
I love that. 2 raccoons pretending to be a person?
No, they were just scratching at it, but he thought someone was breaking into his house.
I pictured it as 2 raccoons standing on each other's shoulders wearing a raincoat, knocking on the door.
See, I should have been more specific.
Like the raccoons are playing a prank on people.
Oh, yeah.
That's really funny. Okay. So we have about 3 minutes left. And in these 3 minutes, we're not going to do another sprint, but let me see if I can just review anything that I need to say. So follow, if you want to do more word sprints and you're on Twitter, you can get the dog.
Yeah, of course.
Follow Nano Word Sprints on Twitter. I'll put a link to, oh, Buster's running. I'll put a link to some character development and nano prep stuff in the comments of this video. If you want to watch more videos like this and you haven't already subscribed to our channel, just click the little Viking helmet that's kind of below me, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll just get updates when we're doing live videos or things like that. Let me see, was there anything else? If you haven't signed up for a camp project yet on NaNoWriMo.org, you should do that. It's super low key. You can set whatever goal you want. Buster, hey, sit down. Sit. Good boy. Ready? Paw. Good boy. Other paw. No, other paw. Other paw. He can't because he's leaning on it. Okay, ready? Kiss. Hey. Thank you. He's our little circus dog. We trained him. Let me see. Anything else? See if anybody in the chat has any questions or things I forgot to say. For everyone who's saying like, this really helped me, thank you so much. Like, we really enjoy doing these, and that's our goal, is to help people write. It helped me too. Like, I had a really fun time writing with you.
I did too. Yeah. Thanks guys for doing it with us. I appreciate you all.
Yeah, this was Mark's first virtual writing, so
it was really
pretty well. Sometimes what happens is like the mic doesn't work or your computer doesn't start. So this time we had very few technical difficulties.
You guys would tell us if the mic didn't work or something, right?
Yeah. And how's Camp Nano now that they combine the websites? To sign up, you just go to NaNoWriMo.org and there should be a banner at the top that says Camp is here, start your project. So you're still writing on NaNoWriMo.org, but it's classified as like a camp project, and it's kind of the same, but now it's on NaNoWriMo. And you can join a group of writers, and you can call it a cabin if you want, but they're just called writing groups, I guess. I know, 2 websites was fun. We're all getting used to it, so if something's not perfect, like, we know it's not perfect and we're trying to fix it too. Okay, everyone, I think we have to go, I guess. Normally I'm just like, maybe we'll just hang out here forever and no one needs to go back to work.
Yeah.
But
I don't mind.
I know. Oh, we have another one. So next week, same time, same place, except different people.
And also not the same place, but same place for you.
Yeah, same place for you. And I hope we'll see you all there. And I guess that's it. Thanks so much for coming.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.